Hi, I'm Gary McClure, plant manager at Cobblestone Mill Woodworks. Today we're going to do a little video of how to replace the screen in one of our standard recessed screen doors. What we have here is clear Western Red Cedar. It's a Riverstone style screen door with our standard recessed trim. The screen in this lower section here has been damaged, so we're going to replace it today. We'll need a few tools. You'll need a hammer, a nail set, or a 16 penny nail. If you don't have a nail set, will work fine. Utility knife, a 5-in-1 tool, or a good rigid putty knife, or worst case scenario, a flat screwdriver with a thin blade. A pair of pliers, some scissors, and it's good to have a piece of cardboard or a little piece of wood or something for prying against to prevent any damage to your door. The first step is going to be removing these stops. So before you do, you'll want to make sure to break the seal where the door is either painted or stained. So take your utility knife and you'll be able to see where the trim meets the frame, and just run it along the edge there and try to get that blade down in there and break that seal. And you'll want to do this all the way around. Once you've done that, take your flat bladed tool and just work it in up underneath the trim. It's got to take a little wiggling, just kind of work it and start prying up. You start loosening that up. Now, we make sure these miter cuts are really nice and tight, so that first piece is going to be a little difficult. So just take your time and work it. Once you start getting it loose, you'll get a little gap in there, then you can come in from the back side. The brad nails are actually going in this direction to the frame, so you want to get in behind it. Once you do, just start working your blade down. And just keep prying until you get one side or the other broke free. Go. Like I said, it's wedged in there pretty good and tight, so you really have to work it until you get it bowed out and it'll pop free. Then you'll want to take your pliers and go ahead and take and pull them brads out. Pull them right out. If any of the brads do stay in the frame, I advise using either cardboard or wood, and use that to pry against your frame to pull it out. That'll prevent damage on your frame. Now with the first piece out, that's going to make the rest of it go a lot easier. Same process, get up under there, get it to where it starts coming up, work your way around, just loosen it up. Once you do, you can start pulling it out. Bring your blade down, pry it out. A lot easier. Alright, now that we have all the stops removed and all the brad nails have been removed from your trim, the next step is to remove your screen and spline. The best way to do this is just work your way around, find you a spot. Out near the middle is a good spot to begin, and just keep wedging. It's nice and tight in there usually, so you'll have to work your way down, getting it loose until it pops out. Once it pops out, you can get the spline and just pull it out. Pull your screen out, and you can dispose of that. You will not need it any longer. Cobblestone offers a replacement kit for all of our screen doors. It will come with everything you need to replace the screen on any of our doors. Of course, it'll come with the screen. It'll come with a brand new spline, So come with the install tool to install your spline. And we even provide the nails to replace your stops with. These are going to be the right size. They're slightly oversized to what was in it, so they're perfect for replacing your trim. It saves you a trip to the hardware store. Okay, so you'll want to make sure everything's nice and clean, that you have nothing down into your groove here. Make sure your plow's clean and that you don't have anything sticking out. You'll lay out your screen. And you want to make sure that you keep your screen nice and straight with your frame. Here's where it's nice to have either a couple of thumbtacks or a couple pieces of masking tape. And what you can do is go into each corner and just kind of pin it up in there. This will not only help keep your screen nice and straight, it will help keep it tighter too. And just for sake of video, normally I start in that corner, but today I'm going to start in this corner. So all I'll do is pin the other three corners. This corner I will handle by hand. Now this is the tool you'll get in your kit. Today I'm just going to use this one. It's a little longer handle. It's what I'm used to. So start in the corner that you did not pin. Just push your spline down into that plow. Just kind of get it started with your fingers. Once it's set in there just a little bit, take your tool and start running it across there. Give it a little bit of pressure. It doesn't need a whole lot. And as you run up to there, you'll see it just sets that spline right down into that plow. Just keep working your way up till you get to that first corner. Now, on the recess screen, it's a little different than our face apply. To keep from getting any wrinkles or anything, it will be a lot easier if you'll go ahead, when you get to the corner, give yourself a little split, not all the way down, but right to the edge of where you're going to be at. Go ahead and fold your spline around the corner. Get it started again with your fingers. Take your tool and same thing again. Just run it along there, applying a little bit of pressure. And you can go back and forth several times there if you need to. The amount of pressure you put, you'll see real quick that it don't take a lot, and you just run it back and forth a few times. Right back up into the corner. Same thing again. It will make it a lot easier if you go ahead and clip the corners. Get started. Now, after you got your first two sides, as you come down the other two, it's nice to keep your hand out here on the access and just keep it nice and tight. Keeping pressure right there in front of it. This will help prevent it getting loose or having wrinkles. Now, especially the first time, you may end up with a little wrinkle. No worries, just back your spline out a little ways, pull it tight, get that wrinkle pulled nice and snug, and continue on. Cut the corner. Tuck it in the corner there nice and tight. And start it down to the last side. And the same thing, just keep a little bit of pressure in front of it. pulling away just slightly ahead of where you're working. Right up to the corner. Now your screen should be pretty nice and snug, nice and straight. Double check and make sure there ain't no wrinkles. At this point, I like to go back over because that's pretty tight. A lot of people would be happy with that, but I like to make ours really nice and tight. So just come back across with a little more pressure than the first time and just set that spline down into that groove. That groove is designed with a specific angle that will help tighten up, not only tighten the screen, but it'll tighten the spline so that it holds that screen even better. So it'll last longer and less likely to pull out or get loose. So just go down all four sides again, giving it some pressure, making sure that spline sits nice and deep down into that groove. So it should be really nice and tight. Alright, now that your screen's nice and tight, wrinkle free, it's time to trim the excess. Now, just take time and make sure you're happy with it, because once we trim this excess, we can't go back and tighten it. This is the time where if you have a wrinkle or if it's a little loose, tighten it now. Alright, so we'll just take right here in this corner, the excess spline, snip it off, and then just take you can take a flathead screwdriver or the edge of your 5-in-1 and tuck down the corners where your roller could not get that spline set all the way down in there. And make sure you get every corner tucked down nice and tight and below the surface. You don't want nothing sticking up to make it harder for your trim to set flat. So you get the corners tucked in. Go. Then you'll take your utility knife and you'll set it on the outside of your plow here. Just put it right there on top of your spline, lean it out just a little bit, but don't touch this inside. You don't want to tear your good screen. Just run it down through there, applying a little bit of pressure on this outside excess, and it'll peel right up nice and easy. Now, this is the standard fiberglass charcoal that we provide. Some of the other screens may be a little thicker, or the aluminum based screens will be a little bit more difficult, but they all can be cut with a razor knife fairly easy. You just keep working your way down, right into the corner there. That little bit of bunched up in the corner, you'll have to kind of get in there and start down the next side. Now that you have all the excess removed, make sure everything is out of the way, everything's down below flush, nothing's sticking out, nothing in the way. You want to make sure your stops sit nice and flat, right where they're supposed to. So, on larger sections it doesn't matter as much, but on these smaller sections on a recessed screen, it's always good to go ahead and get your two smaller pieces in there first. Take the brad nails that are provided with our kit, making sure to stay at least 2 inches from the edge. And you want to just get them down close to flush, but don't ding up your stock with your hammer. We'll finish that out at the end of this. Go ahead and get your other short piece. Set it in there, nail it. Now, one of the tricks to this is once you got your short pieces in there, it's going to be tight trying to get this big piece in there. What you can do is get one corner in, put a little bow on it until you get that other corner in, and snap it in. That'll make it a lot easier to get it in there than trying to wedge it down in there and messing up your corners. Go ahead and nail it into place. And when it's nice and tight like that, your middle piece is going to want to bow out, so just put some pressure down and back towards you. Nail it in. And it's the same thing on the other side. Get the one corner in, bow it out, get it in there and snap it right in there. Alright, so now we'll just nail in that last piece. And just like the other side, I'll just apply a little pressure, make sure it's nice and tight in that corner. Finish nailing. Your kit will come with more than the number of nails you need. If you feel you need some extra, or if you do get a little spot bowing out, it doesn't hurt to throw an extra nail in there. Just always allow the 2 inches from the edge. Once it's all nailed in, take your nail set or your 16 penny nail, whatever you have, and you can slightly recess so that they're below flush. Now, this will allow it to be not only not stick out and leave something to scratch you, but it'll allow you to run paint across there so you don't see the nail heads. Alright, once your stops are back in place and you've set all the nail heads, your door should be back as good as new, ready for many years of enjoyment. If you do have any more questions or have any issues come up, please contact our sales department at 1-800-591-4597.